A brand new brain-dead secret lair has just been announced, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen. On top of that, Wizards of the Coast has just admitted that the majority of Magic players want to see the reserve list abolished.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have some very interesting Magic news to discuss. Now, we're going to start out by talking about Secret Lair Brain Dead, okay? Now, you may have been confused at the beginning and thought that I was insulting a secret lair, but this actually involves a group known as Brain Dead that make clothing. Specifically, we have seen in the past Magic the Gathering clothing from these guys. You can see this crazy outfit, and they actually have it on somebody who's modeled like a goblin or orc, depending on what it looks like to you, but either way, this has a very fun vibe, right? So, not only do these guys manufacture clothing that is Magic related, and a bunch of other brands too, but on top of that, they run EDH events, like they're full on into Magic. So, lo and behold, a picture was posted. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. You can see it right here. This is a special edition Diabolic Tutor. You can see there is a little black stamp of text on there that says, "A dream has come true. Promo card launch in San Diego. Brain Dead EDH event. Stay tuned for details." All right, so what are we looking at here? A very odd beast for a number of reasons. First of all, you don't normally see anything related to Secret Lair out in the wild in this fashion. This is a brand new style of reveal, and if it's not obvious at first, it will become more obvious, right? At first, this might seem like any other Secret Lair card. So, 2 black and 2 for your standard issue Diabolic Tutor, which is a spell that you search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, and then you shuffle, right? This is not like a break down the door level card, but at the same time, it's also not an awful card. So it's an interesting choice for a promo. And specifically, if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner of the card, you're going to notice that it says Secret Lair Promo. This is a very odd duck, right? The collector number that's on there is 721. And looking at previous Secret Lairs, the normal way it works is we get a full-on Secret Lair that can have anywhere from 2 to 8 cards, depending on what Wizards puts in a Secret Lair, unless, of course, they've just made an entire Commander deck a Secret Lair. But regardless, you get your normal issue Secret Lair, and it will have a few cards in it, and then the bonus card that's in that Secret Lair will have a collector number that's way down the line. So to give you an idea of what I mean, take a look at E. Honda from the Street Fighter Secret Lair. His collector number down there from the Secret Lair is 428. But the Hadoken card, which is the bonus card for that Secret Lair, its number is 675, right? And there aren't over 200 cards in that Secret Lair, but there are 200 in terms of spaces between those numbers. More than that, right? So you have a situation where all these cards that are the bonus ones get a number way further down the line. So what it appears like is this is the promo card that will be appearing in a Secret Lair that is yet to be announced. Presumably the Brain Dead Secret Lair. Not 100% sure exactly what that will entail. I assume it's the exact kind of concept as the Artist Secret Lairs, where it's just, we're going to illustrate these particular cards that we find fun, or Wizards has particular cards that they want them to illustrate. But you can see that it talks about how this is going to be at the San Diego Brain Dead EDH event. And it seems like that most likely is going to tie in to the San Diego Comic-Con that's upcoming. So it looks like Wizards of the Coast is going to be announcing another Secret Lair very shortly that will be available when you go to that convention. Now, this card may be the bonus card from inside of it. You know, when you open up a Secret Lair, there is the bonus card in the back. It could be that, or this could be something entirely different, because when you look at the screen, if you look behind the card, you may have noticed this is an entire box of these all individually pre-wrapped. So these could be a convention exclusive. Everybody who shows up to the event gets this promo that already exists inside this secret lair. Or it could be a promo that you get just for showing up at the convention, which does add another problem to the secret lair concept, because overall, secret lair has been watered down, right? Originally, secret lair was billed to us as a concept where we are going to sell you a box set of all, it's basically, we're going to give you crazy, unique art styles, or we're going to do some, check it out, this is a TV show, this is a movie, whatever these kind of concepts are, right? But it was a pretty straightforward idea. We're going to give you a handful of cards that are either reprints or a handful of cards that are functionally new. But then they went ahead and went, now we're going to make secret lair commander decks, where actually only 5 of the cards in it really feel like secret lair cards because they're double-sided, and everything else is just a regular reprint that has nothing special about it and could show up in any of our products. So you compound what's going on with the commander deck with the fact that if they just call this a secret lair promo, but it's not actually connected to secret lair in any way, does the phrase mean anything? What exactly is a secret lair promo? And another interesting note is, let's say they do put the same card inside the secret lair and they have this version, but the one inside the secret lair is just like the previous ones that we've seen, the previous bonus cards. This one has this writing on it down in the bottom that says secret lair promo, but the ones you get from the actual secret lairs that you buy don't have that wording. That would make these like super exclusive special rare versions. There is also, I suppose, just the straight let's cut to the chase concept of maybe they realized that by putting the basic lands into secret lairs that people didn't realize that those were special bonus cards, so they felt the need to mark them out. But either way, there is a lot of fuel for thought here when it comes to what's going on with secret lair and what specifically this promo means. I have to admit, I wish that the artwork wasn't completely covered up over on the bottom hand corner there. I do like to get a good glimpse of it, but ultimately it looks like a pretty straightforward concept, right? Instead of having the tutor concept where, hey, look at me, I'm learning from some evil serpent, or like Braids is saying some crazy stuff to me, things like that. You've got a concept where somebody is essentially just forcing this sort of magic into this dude's mind right from behind, and you can see the brain dead little corporate logo there is stamped right on his forehead. So for anybody who is a big fan of their clothing line or somebody who goes out to their regular events, this is obviously going to be a real treasure to them. Now, let us turn to the other interesting development, which is the statement that Mark Rosewater made about the reserved list. So I'm going to put up on the screen for you the question that was asked over on Blogatog, right? So the question is there anything that the community can do to help abolish the reserve list? I think the vast majority of players want it gone, so there has to be something we can do to make that happen, right? So Mark Rosewater posted this, and he has posted his response, and I will say he answers this question every once in a while, but this answer is very telling. So it says, we know the majority of players would like it to be gone. That's been the case for many years, but that sadly doesn't make any of the other obstacles go away. And that right there is a very telling statement. Now, this is a PR level. Mark Rosewater is walking that proper tightrope and not saying anything that he shouldn't. He's not saying what the actual obstacles are, because some of the obstacles are actually internal to Wizards of the Coast. There are external and internal obstacles to the reserve list being abolished. Now, we talked about the reserve list for almost an hour earlier today on my other channel in a live stream, and we'll be streaming there tonight, so I'll leave a link down below if you want to come on by, but I'm just going to keep it real short for the purposes of this video. The reserve list was created a long time ago, back when Magic was very small, and there was an outcry from collectors, not players of the game. So Wizards of the Coast, in an attempt to keep the collectors happy, made a promise that they would not reprint a very specific list of Magic cards, a reserve list. Now, over the years, there were a few tweaks made to the list. Some cards came off of it. At a certain point, Wizards did say, you know what, we are going to be able to reprint stuff from this list, but only in very limited quantities and only as special promos. And then they turned around and just shut the door on that and said, you know what, actually, we are just done with this. We're not touching the reserve list anymore. None of the cards on the reserve list will be reprinted. And the reserve list is very weird because it has a bunch of incredibly powerful cards on it, but at the same time, it has a bunch of really awful cards on it. So it's like a very mixed bag, and it creates this kind of aura in Magic the Gathering of money. And we'll get into that. That's one of the reasons, actually, that the reserve list isn't going anywhere. But what you need to understand is the reserve list essentially exists as a knee-jerk reaction to collector outcry way back in the day, and Wizards is saddled with it now and doesn't have the ability to reprint all of the cards on this list. They can make cards that are similar, they can make cards that are better, but they can never reprint those cards or make the exact same card. Like, they couldn't just go, hey, we can't reprint Tundra, but why don't we make a card that does the exact same thing as Tundra and we'll call it Mundra? You know what I mean? They can't do that. But they can straight up make cards that are better than Tundras. That's within the rules, right? So there's certain cards they won't make more powerful versions of, and there's certain cards they've already made way more powerful versions of. But the reserve list exists mostly just to frustrate a bunch of people and say, you can't get access to all of these awesome Magic cards. So we've got roadblocks. What is it that stops these things from being reprinted? Well, the first thing is the fact that Wizards of the Coast made this promise. Now understand, I'm about to talk about some legal stuff and I ain't a lawyer. So it may not, if you're a lawyer, I'm probably gonna sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm just gonna say it in a way that's understandable for regular folk, all right? There's this crazy term called promissory estoppel, all right? Basically the deal is, because Wizards of the Coast said they wouldn't print these cards anymore, if somebody wanted to, they could sue Wizards of the Coast if Wizards reprinted it. Now, why would that happen? Let's say, for example, you have a very expensive Magic card like Black Lotus, whatever you want to use. You have a very expensive Magic card that's on the reserve list. It gets reprinted, and because of the increased circulation of the cards, now the value of your Black Lotus drops on the secondary market. So you can say that that's basically damages that have been done to you, right? Now, obviously, when it comes to Magic card prices, how do you know what a definitive price is at any given time? It's not like there's a set automatic market for these things. So proving damages might prove to be quite difficult. And actually saying, yo, Your Honor, I actually lost $50,000 because of these cardboard rectangles. You need to make this right through the court system and Wizards needs to pay me and all this, right? So the threat of those lawsuits is one of the biggest things that holds back the reserved list reprinting. And you have to understand, it's not the fact that the lawsuits would win, because nobody knows. There's people who come down on both sides. There are people who say, if Wizards does this, I will sue them and I will win. I've seen them on the internet. These people have big collections. There are people out there who have said that if these people sue Wizards, they're idiots. They're just going to lose their money. They're not going to win. It's not going to go anywhere, right? Nobody knows for sure, but it's completely irrelevant, actually, whether who would win or how it would go, because you have to view this through the eyes of the corporation that's making these decisions, right? So you've got Wizards of the Coast that's beholden to Hasbro. So whoever's in charge at Wizards of the Coast answers to whoever's in charge of Hasbro. Money must flow up always, and costs must be kept low, and additional expenses must not occur. And lawsuits are horrendous additional expenses. You have to understand that even, let's say you get 10 numpties who are like, bro, I'm coming at you with a lawsuit, Wizards, or whatever it is, right? Whether it's a legitimate lawsuit or not, Wizards of the Coast has to spend their time and money defending themselves against that, right? Hasbro's expensive lawyers have to come wandering in and being like, oh God, we got to deal with another one of these, boy. Come on, man. Well, we're racking up those billing hours. Let's do it, right? So Hasbro pays for all this stuff. And even if you can try and collect the money afterwards, that's a lot of hassle. Companies want to avoid legal trouble at all costs. Guys, do you remember the Mythic Edition boxes? Remember how they disappeared? Poof. Do you know why they disappeared? Class action lawsuit. Wizards went, well, we're never making this again. You haven't heard about it in a long time, but yeah, that's what torpedoed Mythic Edition. Why do you think Wizards of the Coast discontinued the judge program? It was because judges and other people were starting to bring lawsuits against them. Lawsuits close doors real fast on discussions when it comes to corporations and all of this. So the fact that it could happen is way more than enough for Hasbro to go, hold on, let me get this straight. There's like a couple hundred cards that you can't reprint, because if you do, we're going to get sued. But there's 25,000 cards you can reprint, and you can make special foiled textured versions of Kozilek and put them into Double Masters box sets that you can sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and these special textured ones will go out on the secondary market starting at $500 or $600. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that list of cards over there that we could only milk a few times and would crash the price and we might have to deal with lawsuits and whatever. Sure, there's a couple winners on the list, but the thing about the reserve list is it's almost all dogs. You know what? Let me just put a few awful reserve list cards for you. Now, I'm not picking them off the top of my head. It's probably going to be garbage like Conch Horn. I'm guessing Delif's Cube's probably on there. Draconian Silex. I mean, if you got, I assume you're quickly, use my TCG player link. I imagine you can't wait to buy these cards because they're so banger and so impressive. They're certainly not terrible cards that you probably would never play with unless you're playing some weird jank bag deck, right? So that's what the majority of the reserve list is. Wizards of the Coast isn't looking at a lot of bank for reprinting most of those, right? The bank is in the big money cards. And how do you even reprint a Black Lotus and anything else and put it at a good enough price tag, man? Do you understand the mystical aura that comes along with the high-level moneyed cards that's created by the side effects of the reserve list? The reserve list is a bad thing, but it gives Wizards some good side effects. You've got individuals who wear Black Lotuses like it's jewelry, like it's a genuine necklace, because of how expensive it is. Like, that is absolutely mind-blowing advertising and a testament to the power of like the value of the cards, right? There are other card games that start out and what they do is they say, yo, we have a reserve list. There are new games that are going, we have a reserve list. We're not going to reprint these cards because they believe that's a path to success when it's really not. The reserve list is a messed up vestigial tale that they'll never get rid of now because it would cost them way more money just in terms of hassle and whatever than what they could reap from it. There's only a handful of cards they could reprint on there. The Black Lotus and Moxes and whatever. How do you price that effectively to even get them out in the market? How much of a profit margin do you make, right? You've got to pay for the art and do everything else too. People don't think about the wide scale logistics of it and realize that ultimately, financially, it's better for Wizards to say, we're never reprinting this stuff. They've already got the excuse of the reserve list. They've got the lawsuits, which stops them, but they also financially benefit. As long as the reserve list exists, then Magic cards will continue to appreciate. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. The reserve list is going to go away one day. It will go away. I guarantee it. But here's the problem. For most of you, you won't be around to see it. Because when the reserve list goes away, that means Magic, it's dying, boy. That means Wizards is going, we need to get whatever money we can out of this sucker right now because it's going under. They can try and sue us, but we'll already be gone. They can sue our ghosts because we'll be gone, son, right? Seriously, no word of a lie. My biggest red flag for Magic is a single reserved list reprint. I will tell you what happens to me when that happens. I will sell all of my Magic cards, all of them, because I know I'll be able to buy them back soon for nothing, right? That's how it's gonna go. Eventually, Magic has to go down. It can't continually go up forever. I don't want it to happen. I love Magic. So I will be here. I'm going down with the ship. I will chronicle the entire downfall the same way that Astonis did over in Dragonlance when Rastalin was throwing down the gods. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here for the long haul, but I've seen it all and the writing's on the wall. The only time that we are going to get the reserve list getting thrown away is when Wizards can do a last second grab that money, then the game collapses. There are no individual sets made anymore. Magic just turns into one of two things. A living card game where for like $100 you can get 4 of every card from like, pick a set, we'll give you 4 copies of everything for that set for $100 or $50 or whatever. Or it'll turn into something like Netrunner where there's enough of a fan base supporting it underneath that there are still regular releases of fan-made cards, but the game is dead. So understand that as long as Magic is healthy, the reserve list isn't going anywhere. Does it suck? Yes, it sucks. I think all game pieces should be available. I'm not a fan of the fact that we can't all play with all of these cards, and that even those jank cards that I showed you, their prices have been pushed up by people going, well, the reserve list is a store for value, so I'm going to put my money into it. And that just pushes the value up because, like, well, someone else has to come along and pay me more for this conch horn. Like, it's a frustrating circumstance to find us in. And you can see from the language that Rosewater is using, he's saying, bro, it's very clear, nothing's changing. The obstacles are external, the lawsuits, but even if you could get rid of those, the suits at Hasbro would be like, no, you don't touch that. You know what I mean? And the suits at the top of Wizards would also be like, no. Because here's the thing, man. If I was soulless and heartless and all I cared about was the money, and that's it, I'd keep the reserve list too. If you ever want to really figure out what Wizards' angle is going to be, just ask yourself what the greediest, most heartless thing you can do is. I think people look at Wizards of the Coast and you think like, they're selling me a meal. They want me to enjoy the meal. No, son. They want you to pay for the food. They don't care if you eat the meal. They don't care if it gives you indigestion, if you throw it on the floor. As long as you pay for your meal, that is all they care about. All right? And speaking of meals, remember to stay hydrated. Do you have a human body? Do you drink water like me? Get yourself a Magic Historian mug. The way Magic prices are going, I need some money, so buy it. Anyways, we're done. Thanks for coming by. Big shout out to my patrons, and these will never be a reserve list. See you later.